Ashley Whewell, registered dietitian, and this is Cooking Healthy with Coastline. Today we have a very exciting guest with us. We have our nutrition program director, Pacheco. Thank you for joining us, Jerami.
Thank you for having me, Ashley. I'm very excited. As Ashley said, my name is Pacheco. I am the new nutrition director at Coastline Elderly Services. Very excited to be here and cooking today. I come with a strong culinary background. I went to Johnson & Wales for baking and pastry and then left with a nutrition degree as well. So I've been all around the culinary world, to say the least. I thought I'd bring over some fall favorites today, some of my favorite pies. We have a pumpkin pie and pecan pie that we'll be presenting to you today, with Ashley's help, of course. Very excited to get that going.
And I'm very excited. Pumpkin pie is my favorite pie. And I am not a baker, so it is really exciting to have Jerami here so he can show us some easy, simple recipes that we can try at home with our loved ones. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, easy is definitely the word. These are honestly the easiest pies in the world. Nice and easy to make with your family at home. You can make it with the grandkids this season. It definitely screams fall. But yeah, pecan's my favorite. So I'm excited to make both of them. But we'll jump right in. We are gonna start with our pie crust. We got a store-bought pie crust today because, just trying to save a little time. Everybody's busy nowadays. So we're just gonna stretch this guy out a little. We want it to fit the size of our pie tin.
And that's usually found in the frozen section, right?
Actually the refrigerated section. So you don't want your pie crust to be frozen because then otherwise the gluten is gonna break and you're not gonna get as nice of a fluffy pie. So definitely in the fridge section.
Yes, see, again, definitely not a baker, so.
Yeah, and try not to freeze them, but at the same time, try not to let them get too hot because then the butter will melt and then it'll be a little tough for you to roll this guy out. So you just want it to be a little larger than your pan. We'll be using a traditional 9-inch baking pan. I'm gonna spray that ahead of time with some pan spray to allow the dough to not stick. So we're gonna go ahead and par cook this guy just to ensure that the dough isn't raw on the bottom. A lot of people tend to throw their stuff in for the pie, the filling, and then just cook it, and you end up with a little soggy bottom for the dough, and we do not want that today.
No, no one wants a soggy bottom.
No soggy bottoms today. So we're just gonna put this in, kind of let the pie tell you what it wants to do. Let it fall in and push it into the corners. Put it right over here for you. So we're gonna just push that in with our thumbs, doing a slight push in. You don't wanna rip it or tear it. And then those parts that you find are starting to bunch up, you just fold them out and pull it up. Hopefully by the end, when you go around, you should have a nice, fluid, thick pie crust. Looking like this. There's a little spots that you may not be able to get it just depending on your pie tin. So just, give yourself some grace. Go in, press it in. You want to ensure that there's no bubbles. If they are, just try to push them on out. Once you feel comfortable with that pie tin, you're going to go ahead and create some holes to allow the carbon from the bubbles to come on up out so it does not ruin your pie shell. This is the most tedious part. But this is very old-fashioned. They do have new tools now that will create all the holes.
Right?
Yeah, you could just roll it on. Works well with pizza dough as well. It's the same concept. So once we get this guy all holed up, we will throw him in the oven. Get that pre-baked so we can start on our actual pumpkin. So it should look like that for you. You can have more holes, you just don't want to go too deep. You don't want to actually cut into the pie dough. So we'll pull that one, throw that in.
And we actually already have one ready to go for our pumpkin pie. There we go.
Awesome possum. So this guy was a little warm, so it ended up shrinking the sides a little. So as you can see, it shrunk inside so you don't have as much of a crust. So just try to do what we did with the first one, allow it time to sit down and chill. But this is no problem at all. It's looking beautiful and it's ready for some pumpkin filling. So we'll get that going. So we have over here for our ingredients, we have 15 ounces of pumpkin puree. You could buy this at any local store. You want to get the 100% puree, don't want any additives, any extra sugar. It ends up making your pie a little too sweet or can discolor it as well. And too much sugar will also give you that crack that everybody doesn't like to see on the pie.
Oh, interesting.
So we're gonna throw that in there. We're gonna add our spices. We have a teaspoon of ginger. We have a tablespoon of, I believe this is nutmeg. Yes, it is. And we also have 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Everybody's favorite.
It's definitely my favorite.
Yeah. So we'll go in and mix in the eggs first with the puree. This allows the eggs to really get incorporated before we start adding in too many fatty objects. So once we add in the evaporated milk, it gets a little dicey. I'm gonna mix this in with a traditional fork. Just wanna break up your eggs first and get that guy mixed right in. It might look a little rough at first, but give it some time to really bind together. Trust the process, as they say.
And I love pumpkin pie mostly because of these spices. Like we were saying, cinnamon and nutmeg, it really is just like a great fall staple. And pumpkin is great. It has lots of fiber, good for digestion. It's also high in potassium, which is great for heart health. So don't have to feel too guilty about eating pumpkin pie.
No, not at all. Honestly, I think it was 240 calories per slice for this, so it's really not too shabby. Right now we're just adding in the sugar. Gonna allow that to just get mixed in. Should be a quick, easy fix. Again, trust the process. As you can see, it's nice and smooth now. And lastly, we're gonna go ahead and add in slowly our evaporated milk. You don't wanna do too much at one time because then you might end up with a mess on your hands. So just go take it nice and slow. And the evaporated milk and the eggs are really what's binding the pumpkin together and really giving you that nice custard pie. So we're looking for a cup of evaporated milk and 1 cup of sugar. And you want just a little light of a color and a nice thickness. You don't want it too thin because then it won't come together, but it should look like this. About that consistency. Not too thin, but holding on to having some body. All right, so we're gonna take that guy over and pour it into our pie. Since this pie shell is a little under on the edges, we wanna just give it some room to breathe. Don't wanna go too over. Traditionally, you would fill it all the way up, but you know, we're working with what we got here. Alrighty, so just gonna give it a little flat, give it a little bang, not on top of the stove. You wanna get all those air bubbles to come on out, and then we're gonna throw it right inside the oven. We're gonna drop the temperature down to 350 degrees, and we'll cook this for about 30 to 40 minutes. It is a little thin, so we may just cook this for about 20 minutes or so. Great. And we're just waiting a few more minutes for our other pie shell, and then we can get our pecan pie going.
All right, so we have our pumpkin pie in the oven, and now we're ready to get started on our pecan pie.
That we are, my favorites.
I never think to have pecan pie, to be honest, but it does look delicious.
It is so good. It's so sweet and sugary, and the nuts, I love it. It's honestly my favorite.
Here you go.
So it is a really easy recipe. It does have a few ingredients to it, and people do have a variety of ways of making it. So some people like to put everything together inside a pot beforehand, get that to boil, and then they put that inside the pre-baked pie crust. You could definitely do that. It helps speed up the process for sure. Allows you to have a little more say on what the actual product will look like. A classic traditional way though, however, you're gonna dump everything inside one bowl, mix it all up together, and allow the oven to do its thing. So we're gonna go ahead and mix the eggs and sugar in together. You can mix this in with your pecans, but this just gives you a little more control as to ensure a true combination. So really wanna make sure you're breaking up that egg yolk and getting that mixed in with the sugar. It almost end up looking like a paste.
That's very interesting. I feel like I just have never thought to make a pecan pie because it is a very decadent looking pie and it does look a little intimidating. So, I mean, seeing all these ingredients out though, it seems like it's gonna be a relatively easy pie to put together.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Relatively easy isn't even the word. Super easy, I would say. But it does look more difficult. It's definitely scary looking at it. But it's once you learn about it and once you get comfortable, truly you can make this all the time. And again, you can make it with the kids, and then this is something kids can carry on with them throughout their adulthood. So I think this is what we're looking for as far as the mixture.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So this is gonna be that nice sugary mixture that's gonna coat everything up and allow the custard itself to settle. So that was a cup of sugar. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of corn syrup. Gonna add 1 teaspoon of light brown sugar, and then 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And the best part is the butter. So you want your butter to be either at room temp or melted, just so that way it could easily mix in. You don't want it cold because then you won't get a true mixture. So it's gonna look a little scary for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting looking.
But you're just gonna mix everything up together, get all of that coated nice and good for you. And this essentially is just a custard and nuts. And now it's going to get popped inside our pie shell and baked relatively easy. Again, you could do it over the stove, but why when it's so easy? So let's grab that pie shell out. So it looks like we ran into the same problems with this guy, that it was a little too warm. And you could see that the way the dough is pulling back on you, that the gluten was a little too hot, so it's a little too activated.
So too, at the grocery store, don't they have pie crusts that are already in a tin that you could purchase too?
Yeah, you absolutely could purchase a pre-baked pie crust in a tin as well. Just be careful with those because sometimes they come pre-baked entirely, but they may be a little too overbaked. So if you're throwing a pie in the oven for additional 40 minutes, you don't want it to be so overbaked for sure.
I see.
Yeah, but these tend to be the best option for sure, but again, they're a little finicky, so you just have to be careful as far as the temperature and how you handle them. So at least we're learning and growing together here, right?
And it's still gonna be delicious.
Yeah, it's still gonna be exquisite. So we're gonna pour this right into our pie shell. You're gonna allow that first layer to get in there, really mix everything around, flatten out, and then you're gonna go ahead and add in the rest. So if you wanna make sure that you have enough of that sauce, try to pull back some of those nuts and save those right for the missing spaces that are gonna need some help. So it should look like that. I went a little nutty and added a little bit much, but I enjoy nuts, so I thought it'd be phenomenal. But this is truly what we're looking for right here. You just wanna make sure all of them are encased with that syrup, and we're gonna pop it right into the oven.
And how long will this have to be in the oven for?
So this one's gonna go in at the same temperature as the pumpkin pie, so you can definitely make them together. It's gonna be at 350. This will go in for about 40 to 50 minutes though. This is gonna take a little bit longer to settle rather than the pumpkin. So we'll get that guy in and we'll see you when it comes out.
All right, so our pies are ready to go, so we're gonna take them on out.
That they are. Oh, and they are looking delicious. We have our pumpkin pie and our pecan pie.
And that looks great.
That it does. I am getting hungry.
Awesome.
So we're gonna let these guys sit and rest for some time. The pumpkin pie is gonna rest for about 20 minutes until you don't see that glossy shine on it anymore. You see it right there for you. And then the pecan pie you're gonna let rest for about 30 to 40 minutes just to really let that center settle in. Go ahead and serve that with some fresh ice cream and whipped cream and you'll be on your way. If there is any left over, make sure you pop that into your fridge. It'll last you for about 5 to 7 days if nobody eats it all on you.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, my friends. Our pumpkin pie and our pecan pie, as you can see, super easy for the holidays and even in the winter months. Going to be a great snack and dessert for our friends and family. And thank you, Jeremy, for joining me. It was great having you on the show.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be here, very grateful to be here, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yeah. All right, friends. Well, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like and check out our channel for other quick, fun videos. Thanks.